The time is now 6 p.m. Good evening and welcome to the August 24th, 2026 legislative session of the Salisbury City Council. In the event of an emergency, please remain calm and exit through the double doors you came in. Make it right and proceed to the stairwell. If the hallway is blocked, then exit to the left, around the corner and down the stairs. Please do not use the elevator and let us know if any assistance is needed. At this time, we ask that everyone please silence their phones. Let me check mine. We will now stand for the pledge of the flag. Angela, will you lead the pledge, please?
Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We will now have invocation by Pastor Chelsea Spires of Asbury United Methodist Church.
Good evening, council and guests. I am Chelsea Spires, the pastor of Asbury United Methodist, and it's a gift to be with you this evening. Tonight, I often like to lead with poetry as part of my reflections, and so tonight we'll kick us off with a poem that's titled Prophets of a Future Not Our Own. It was written in celebration of Oscar Romero, who was known in El Salvador for fighting for the poor, and this was written in celebration of his death. It helps now and then to step back and take the long view. The kingdom is not only beyond our efforts, it's even beyond our vision. We accomplish in our lifetime only a tiny fraction of the magnificent enterprise that is God's work. Nothing we do is complete, which is another way of saying that the kingdom always lies beyond us. No statement says all that could be said. No prayer fully expresses our faith. No confession brings perfection. No pastoral visit brings wholeness. No program accomplishes the church's, or I would add city's, mission. No sets of goals and objectives include everything. This is what we are about. We plant the seeds that one day will grow. We water the seeds already planted, knowing that they hold future promise. We lay foundations that will need further development. We provide yeast that produces far beyond our capabilities. We cannot do everything, and there is a sense of liberation in realizing that. This enables us to do something and to do it well. It may be incomplete, but it is a beginning, a step along the way, an opportunity for God's grace to enter and to do the rest. We may never see the end results, but that is the difference between the master builder and the worker. We are workers, not master builders. Ministers, not messiahs. We are prophets of a future, not our own. Whether you use the language of God or Lord or Holy One in your prayers, or whether you use the language of Spirit, I hope that you heard something in that. An invitation to do something and to do it well. To not be overwhelmed by all of the work that is ahead of you, but to lean into the ways that you are being led, for the ways that you are being called forward. And I invite you to join me in an attitude of prayer or in meditation. Holy One of many names, we give you thanks for this evening, and we give you thanks for the ways that you have called us here, for the ways that you lead us forward. And we ask that you would release us of any doubts and uncertainties, and that you would allow us to lean into our particular callings and our particular gifts. God, help us to challenge one another, but also help us to listen well to each other. Fill this space with your holy presence. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you so much. Before we begin this meeting, My saying is always, we're gonna be very respectful, cordial, and very forthcoming to everyone. So this is just how we are going to handle our meetings. Each and every time we have a meeting, we will be very respectful to one another, whether we agree or disagree. Very respectful. We'll have presentation and adoption of the agenda. Can I get a motion and a second to approve the legislative agenda?
So moved, Sharon.
Second.
Okay, Ms. English?
Good evening, council. On the agenda this evening, we have the consent agenda, which has 9 meeting minutes and 1 resolution. We have an award of bid. We have a public hearing. Ordinances, we have 12 of them, 1 being second reading, and then 11 are for first reading. And then we have adjournment and convening work session.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the chair votes aye. Consent agenda. Can I get a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Who was that, Sharon?
Angela.
Angela?
Michelle.
Please mention your names. Okay. Okay, Ms. English?
Before I read the consent agenda, I just want to do a shout out to Hannah Long. She has helped me catch up on these meeting minutes, even though she's in the mayor's office. She has been a big help getting these caught up, so. For the consent agenda, we have meeting minutes for March the 30th, 2026, for a special legislative session. April 13th, 2026, legislative session and work session. April the 27th, 2026, legislative and work session. May the 11th, 2026, legislative and work session. May the 26th, 2026, legislative session, and June the 8th, 2026 for legislative session. Then we have 1 resolution, resolution number 3479, appointing Elizabeth Mulvihill, I hope I said that right, to the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee for term ending August 2029.
Thank you. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the chair votes aye. Is Ms. Mulvihill here today? Would you please stand? Thank you so much for wanting to be a part of any of our committees or our commissions. We appreciate you, and we would love to see more come. Oh, thank you. Okay, we have the award of bids. Can I get a motion and a second to approve the award of bids?
So moved.
Second, Melissa.
Okay, Mr. Lowe? Oh, no, Mr.
Ladies.
Mr. Lowe is on vacation in
Well, he
Florida.
wish he did. No, he didn't. No, he doesn't.
You get me tonight.
Okay,
The
that's fine.
Department of Procurement seeks award for bid approval from the City Salisbury Council for the solicitation as defined herein. The Department of Procurement followed required procurement policy and procedure as defined by the City of Salisbury Charter and Municipal Code of Ordinances for the procurement's presentation below. ITB 27107, City Park lighting poles and mounting accessories. The scope of work is the delivery of the poles and the mounting accessories for the City Park lighting master plan. We decided to go with ED Supply Company at a cost of $217,749.75. We did go through all of our cooperative contracts, and this by far was the most fiscally responsible decision to go with ED Supply.
All in favor, signify by saying.
One thing, I wanted to thank you and anyone who put this together, because I had no idea what sole source purchase justification was.
Oh.
And not only did you define it, but then you had a Q&A, so covered all my bases.
Okay,
So
great.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the chair votes aye. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Anyone wishing to speak during or enter of the public hearing, please stand now and be sworn in by the city clerk. In reference to ordinance 3012. No, you don't get sworn in.
City employees don't count. We assume you're telling the truth.
Yeah, we assume you're going to tell the truth, period. Can I get a motion and a second to approve ordinance number 3012 for second reading?
So move, Sharon.
Second, Michelle.
The time is now 6:10, and the public hearing is now open. Is there no public to speak? Ms. Boucher?
For the record, would you like me to go ahead and summarize
Yes,
the ordinance
yes,
so
yes.
everyone can hear? Ordinance number 3012, this is an ordinance of the city amending section 17.36.020, 17.36.045, 17.76.050, and 17.80.040 of the city code to revise cannabis grower and processor distance.
Thank you. There's no speakers, so the public hearing is now closed, and it is now 6:11. Are there any council questions?
I have a question about why they're reducing the 500-foot buffer. And I realized that when they gave the summary of the request, there was a letter attached from Stephen Johnson with, what is it, JASIS Lab, whatever it is. And he was questioning the 1,000-foot distance that they had. I know, Nick, you may be able to answer this, I'm not sure. But he primarily deals with medical marijuana, which, that's separate, obviously. I'm concerned, and maybe, I hope this is relevant. Planning and zoning suggested that the distance, the buffer distance be the same, you were there, the buffer distance be the same for the growers and the businesses, 13 of which we have in the city. I have a problem with it having to be consistent because I don't want a particular sales, a vape shop being next to a playground, which it is on Riverside Drive, and yet a cannabis grower close to the playground, I'm not concerned about because of the purpose of their business. So I just need an explanation for the buffer sameness or being consistent, or an argument as to why a distance should be factored in with the growers. And I know vape is not on here, but just with the growers.
So this is only growers and processors?
Right.
Any, like dispensaries or anything like that would not be included in this? They
Right.
still will have the same rules as, I believe, a vape shop has. I think those are consistent. And since this is more laboratory type setting, and it doesn't typically produce smells, you don't have any signs of it, there's strict rules about the signage and stuff to where you wouldn't notice if it was across from a park or a
Okay.
daycare or something along those lines.
Okay, so, okay, that answers it as far as the distance buffer. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any more questions from any council person? Okay, all in favor of ordinance number 3012 for second reading, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The public hearing was closed at 6:11. Okay.
Ordinances now, we have ordinance number 3015. Can I get a motion and a second to approve ordinance number 3015 for second reading?
So moved.
Second, Melissa.
Ms. O'Shea?
Ordinance number 3015, this is an ordinance of the city authorizing the mayor to reallocate PAYGO funds from the St. Peter's Main Street project and the Shoemaker Pond project to the City Park Master Plan project. Before you tonight for second reading.
All in favor? Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The chair votes aye. Ordinance number 3016. Can I get a motion and a second to approve ordinance number 3016 for first reading?
So move, Sharon.
Second, Michelle.
Ms. Boucher?
Ordinance number 3016, this is an ordinance of the council of the city of Salisbury amending and supplementing ordinance number 2140 passed by the council on March 14th of 2011, approved by the mayor of the city on March 18 of 2011, and effective on March 18, 2011. As previously amended and supplemented in order to, one, authorize and empower the city to use and apply certain investment earnings on the $7,693,000 City of Salisbury Public Improvement Bond of 2012, issued on May 3rd of 2012, referred to as the 2012 bond, to a project identified herein as the zoo facility improvements, in addition to the projects originally identified in ordinance number 2140, as previously amended and supplemented, and two, to identify such additional project as a project for all purposes of ordinance number 2140, as amended and supplemented, providing that this title is a fair statement of the substance of this ordinance, authorizing certain city officials to take certain actions in connection with the transactions contemplated by this ordinance, providing that the provisions of this ordinance shall be liberally construed, and otherwise generally relating to the use of the proceeds of the 2012 bond. This is before you tonight for first reading.
Okay. All in favor, signify by saying
Ms.
aye.
Jackson, I have a question.
Okay, fine. Go ahead.
For you. So on these, it'll be this one and the ones that come. My question is, are these projects completed? And the reason I say that is, as you scroll down through the resolutions, the ordinances, there's a couple coming from field ops. However, we just got money from Andy Harris for field ops. So I guess I'm not understanding, why are we taking money for projects that are not completed and moving it to this zoo project? And what exactly does this zoo project, this going to be used for? What does that entail? Because I'm not sure I understand.
Which projects are you referencing that are not complete?
I'm asking, are any of all of these on all of these ordinances tonight, are they completed projects?
Yes, this is money that's been sitting in there that's unallocated, and we're moving it to allocate it to another project.
Okay, so everything, okay, see,
Yeah.
because that's where my concern comes in. As we get farther down, one is for field ops.
Come on.
And that project is not completed because I was just there not long ago, and nothing's been done. So I guess I'm not understanding what we're doing here.
Sandy, could you go?
Yeah, let me, actually, good evening, council. The memo, we did one memo that went with all 8 of the ordinances. Actually, for the 2012 bond, it's just interest earnings that we're reallocating of $14,748. And then for the 13 bond, it's interest. For the 14 bond, interest. For the 15 bond, it's interest. And then money that was left on the GOB roof and air handler. And 16 is all interest, 17 is all interest, 19 is interest, and then we had unallocated proceeds, and we also had the building lighting and controls. That was the Honeywell money that is left over, that we never did anything with the Honeywell contract. And then the 21 bond is interest, unallocated issuance cost, money that was left over on the aerial ladder and the GOB air handler replacement. So they're all interest, with the exception of a few projects that just had leftover money from them. So some of the other projects that you're seeing in the bonds, that will remain in there.
It's not, so I'll wait till we get to that ordinance. It's not actually in that one, but one of them is this safety center, I believe. I'd have to look down, but I believe that's field ops. So again, my question is, why, if field ops, that's nothing over there has been completed, and it really needs to be done. So why would we take money? I'm just not understanding.
If you're referencing the new fleet building that you're talking about, the bond we have, that's a little over $4 million, none of that is being touched in these ordinances. That, the fleet building money is not part of any of these bond reallocations.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Okay, there's questions. All in favor of ordinance number 3016? Signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, I didn't hear all the ayes.
Oh, I'm sorry, aye.
Okay.
Thank
Are there
you.
any opposed? And the chair votes aye. Okay, ordinance number 3017. Can I get a motion and a second to approve ordinance number 3017 for first reading?
So moved. Second. Sharon.
Ms. Boucher?
Ordinance number 3017, as you just heard from the finance director, all of these are kind of all for the bond proceeds and they're by year. So what I'm going to do is read the first part of the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ordinances because they all conclude in the same fashion. So ordinance number 3017, this is an ordinance of the council amending and supplementing ordinance number 2273, passed by the council on December 16th of 2013, approved by the mayor on December 16th of 2013, and effective on December 16th of 2013, as previously amended and supplemented in order to authorize and empower the city to use and apply certain investment earnings on the $3,178,000 City of Salisbury Public Improvement Bond of 2013 issued on December 23rd of 2013 to a project identified herein as the zoo facility improvements, in addition to the projects originally identified in ordinance number 2273.
Are there any questions? Council? None? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Ordinance number 3018. Can I get a motion and a second to approve ordinance number 3018 for first reading?
So moved. Angela?
Second, Michelle.
Ms. Boucher?
This is ordinance number 3018, and it's an ordinance of the council of the city amending and supplementing ordinance number 2299, passed by the council on August 25th of 2014, approved by the mayor of the city on August 28th of 2014, and effective that same date, in order to authorize and empower the city to use and apply certain investment earnings on the $4,009,000 City of Salisbury Public Improvement Bond, Series 2014A, issued on September 26, 2014, to a project identified herein as the zoo facility improvements, in addition to those projects or originally identified in ordinance number 2299.
Okay. Yep. Are there any questions? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Ordinance number 3019. Can I get a motion and a second to approve ordinance number 3019 for first reading?
So moved, Sharon.
Second, Angela?
Ms. Boucher?
Ordinance number 3019, now we're moving on to the year of 2015. An ordinance of the council of the city amending and supplementing ordinance number 2357, passed by the council on October 12, 2015, approved by the mayor of the city on October 14, 2015, and effective on October 14, 2015, as previously amended and supplemented in order to authorize and empower the city to use and apply certain investment earnings on the $4,726,200, City of Salisbury, so read that, 4726200, City of Salisbury Public Improvement Bond of 2015, issued on December 1 of 2015 to a project identified herein as the zoo facility improvements, in addition to the projects originally identified in ordinance number 2357.
Thank you, Ms. Boucher. Are there any questions? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Ordinance number 3020. Can I get a motion and a second to approve ordinance number 3020 for first reading?
So moved. Angela?
Second, Michelle.
Ms. Boucher?
We're moving on to 2016 year. Ordinance number 2030. This is an ordinance of the Council of the City, amending and supplementing ordinance number 2394, passed by the council on July 18 of 2016, approved by the mayor of the city on July 19 of 2016, and effective on that same date, as amended and supplemented to date in order to authorize and empower the city to use and apply a certain investment earnings on the $20,030,000 City of Salisbury Public Improvement and refunding bonds of 2016 issued on July 28, 2016 to the project identified as the zoo facility improvements. And that's it.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Boucher. Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Ordinance number 3021. Can I get a motion and a second to approve ordinance number 3021 for the first reading?
So moved, Sharon.
Second, Michelle.
Ms. Boucher?
Ordinance number 3021, this is an ordinance of the council of the city amending and supplementing ordinance number 2463, passed by the council on November 13, 2017, approved by the mayor on November 15 of 2017, and effective that same date, as previously amended and supplemented in order to authorize and empower the city to use and apply certain investment earnings on the $5,724,853 City of Salisbury Public Improvement Bonds of 2017 issued on December 13 of 2017 to a project identified herein as the zoo facility improvements, in addition to those projects originally identified in ordinance number 2463.
Okay, any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the chair votes aye. Ordinance number 3022. Can I get a motion and a second to approve ordinance number 3022 for first reading?
So moved. Michelle.
Second, Melissa?
Ms. Boucher?
Ordinance number 3022. This is an ordinance of the council of the city amending and supplementing ordinance 2554, passed by the council on August 26, 2019, approved by the mayor on August 27, 2019, and effective that same day, as amended and supplemented to date in order to authorize and empower the city to use and apply a portion of the principal amount of and certain investment earnings on the $11,225,000 City of Salisbury Public Improvement Bonds of 2019 issued on October 8, 2019 to the project identified herein as the zoo facility improvements.
Thank you. Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The chair votes aye. Ordinance number 3023. Can I get a motion and a second to approve ordinance number 3023 for first reading?
So moved, Sharon.
Second, Angela.
Ms. Boucher?
This is the last of this package. It's ordinance number 3023, and it's an ordinance of the council of the city of Salisbury amending and supplementing ordinance number 2675, passed by the council on July 26, 2021, approved by the mayor of the city on July 26, 2021, and effective that same date, as amended and supplemented to date in order to authorize and empower the city to use and apply a portion of the principal amount of and certain other amounts relating to the $8,965,000 City of Salisbury tax-exempt public improvement and refunding bonds of 2021 issued on September 1, 2021 to the project identified as the zoo facility improvements, and additionally to identify such additional project as a project for all other purposes as set forth in ordinance number 2675.
Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Ordinance number 3024. Can I get a motion and a second to approve ordinance number 3024 for first reading?
So moved. Angela?
Second, Melissa.
Ms. Boucher?
Ordinance number 3024 is an ordinance of the city authorizing, or to authorize the mayor to enter into a contract with the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development for the purpose of accepting grant funds in the amount of $26,000 and to approve a budget amendment to the grant fund to appropriate these funds for the Arts, Business, and Culture Department. Before you tonight for first reading.
Any questions?
Yes.
Counsel?
I do have a question. On the chart that was part of this packet, the small business support, it says it's what, 12 or 15,000? If 12,000 is going for the small businesses, how would a small business downtown apply for that, or how would that be decided?
I'm going to have Scott Roberts, our director of ABCD, come up.
Thank you, Scott.
God, thank you.
That is correct. We're still in the development process of that system, but it
Right.
would be an application that the business would put in.
Okay, because it was interesting the way it's been, I like the way you divided it, so that it's not just small business, it's events, it's beautification, it's a mixed bag. So I was just curious how they got that benefit. Thank you.
We're hoping to help some people get their feet.
Right, exactly. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any more questions? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Ordinance number 3025. Can I get a motion and a second to approve ordinance number 3025 for first reading?
So moved. Michelle?
Second, Melissa.
Ms. Boucher?
Ordinance number 3025 is an ordinance of the city to authorize the mayor to enter into a contract with the Maryland State Arts Council for the purpose of accepting grant funds in the amount of $16,500 and to approve a budget amendment to the grant fund to appropriate these funds for the Arts, Business, and Culture Department.
Are there any questions? Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the chair votes aye. Ordinance number 3026. Can I get a motion and a second to approve ordinance number 3026 for first reading?
Sharon, so moved.
Second, Melissa.
Okay, Ms. Boucher?
Ordinance number 3026, this is an ordinance of the city to accept grant funds from the Community Foundation of the Eastern Shore in the amount of $7,500 for the Summer Youth Employment Program. Before you tonight for first reading.
Are there any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The chair votes aye. Okay, we are adjourned and we're getting ready to go into our work session. And it is now 6:32.
So I think it either needs to say drop the two, so to authorize, or drop, or take off the two and just say authorizing for both of those.
Okay, resolution. Ms. Boucher? This resolution is scheduling the referendum on the proposed charter amendment to appeal Article 23 of the city charter for the next general election scheduled for Tuesday, November 2nd, 2027.
So I prepared this based upon council's discussion at the last work session. The state law requires that you pass a resolution setting the date and time of the election, which is going to be at the next general election. We've confirmed with the board that those are the correct hours. The law also requires the resolution to identify the exact language that's going to be placed on the ballot. So this is my attempt to put something before you for discussion to see if you're in agreement with that language or want changes.
Okay. Does the council have any questions?
I think it's pretty clear.
Yeah, it is.
She's
It's
doing a
pretty
good
clear.
job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So do we have consensus to move this forward to legislative session?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So So this is a resolution, so it will just be passed at the
Yes.
first reading, okay?
Ordinance to amend the Salisbury City Code Title 15, Building and Construction to provide discretionary reduction and permitting fees for nonprofit entities. Mayor Taylor?
Yeah, what this ordinance attempts to do is allow established nonprofits in good standing with the state, good standing with the city, to get some level of relief from larger projects, permit and fire approval fees. For example, that offer a public good. For example, Halo in a mental health facility, SNHS related to like for the Fitzwater project, and, others. So it would be for fees over $5,000 and up to 50%. So it wouldn't be a full forgiveness. It would just give them a relief. And really, so we'd really be collecting sufficient, I think, fees to cover our costs, but at the same time not put them in a position to in larger projects, to have to raise money just to pay our fees. So it's a way for us, in the case of, say, an NHS, they invest, they don't have to pay us, and they can take that money that when they sell the properties to reinvest in their new projects coming up. So it's a way of multiplying those dollars over time. So.
And I was just going to say, the process would be the nonprofit would fill out application. The application would go to the director of DID, which would then make a recommendation to the mayor and council, and then ultimately it would come before the council to approve any of the fee waiver.
I have a question.
Yeah, okay.
For Salisbury Neighborhood Housing, doesn't the tax abatement bill that was just passed in April give them full tax abatement?
Well, that's on
for
the real
this.
estate taxes
Okay.
while they own it. But this is talking about permit fees and fire review fees.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any more questions? Okay, do we have consensus to move this forward to the legislative session?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, ordinance amending Title 17 of the Salisbury City Code entitled zoning by amending Section 17.04.120 definitions and Chapter 17.164 entitled R5S, R8S, and R10S residential districts, and adding a new chapter 17.170 entitled Accessory Dwelling Units Standards. Thank you, Mr. Pusey.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
It's a pleasure to be here. Maybe I should introduce myself to everybody. Gary Pusey, city planner. So
Okay.
it's a pleasure to be here. And
Charlotte Loberto.
And I just want to say we are so excited to have Gary. Gary comes with 4 decades of experience, Gary.
you didn't have to say that, but
But I've worked with Gary in Wycomico and in Worcester as well, so
You almost told his age.
we're glad to have him.
of course, the council president and I went to high school together.
Oh, really?
Okay, so we're here tonight to talk about accessory dwelling units and a text amendment, potential text amendment to the code. Some background information in the 2025 Maryland legislative session. House Bill 1466 was signed into law by the legislature, and actually it was signed by the governor in April of 2025. That bill has an effective date of October 1st, 2026, so it's coming up in about 5 weeks. Basically, what that bill says is that anywhere a single-family detached residence is allowed, you also have to allow an accessory dwelling unit. We call accessory dwelling units in our code right now accessory apartments, so they're the same thing. But the city's code right now does not allow accessory apartments in all of those districts. The districts in the city where single-family detached residences are allowed are quite a few. All the residential districts, so R5, R8, R10, R5A, R8A, and R10A, R5S, R8S, R10S. And then the office and service residential and the light business and institutional also allow single-family detached residences. So those districts could also have accessory dwelling units as a permitted use. In the city right now, I mentioned the accessory apartments are currently allowed, but only in the R5S, 8S, and 10S districts. And they're only allowed by special exception from the Board of Appeals, and there's certain development standards that have to be met. So all that will come out of the code, no more special exceptions by the Board of Appeals, because the state law says if a single-family detached residence is permitted, the accessory dwelling units also have to be permitted. So some components of that bill that was passed, an accessory dwelling unit can't be any larger than 75% of the size of the primary residence on the lot. I'll shorten it to ADU. ADU has to be self-contained with facilities for sleeping, eating, cooking, and sanitation. So basically, it's a separate dwelling unit. It's just smaller than the principal dwelling unit that would be on the lot.
Can I stop you there?
Sure.
So this is a work session, so when you say 75, I thought we talked a little bit about 50% possibly, but we can get into that for a minute?
We can.
That's, in the historic district, that could be a substantial structure.
Yeah.
These houses are big houses, so.
So what I'm summarizing right now is what the state law says.
Okay, got it.
And-
Okay, and then we can move it from there. Okay,
Yes, so a maximum of 75, it can't be any larger than 75%. The city could go smaller. The Planning Commission did recommend 75%, but that's a recommendation. You're the ones that make the decision. Only one ADU is allowed per lot. They can be detached or attached to the principal residence. You know, detached would be a standalone ADU. Could be a detached garage with an ADU on the second floor. Attached would be adding on to the principal residence on the lot. The state law also says local governments cannot adopt regulations that unreasonably restrict or prohibit ADUs. And the intent of that is that the state wants to expand housing opportunities throughout the state. I think everybody knows, you've heard a lot about it. There is a bit of a housing shortage in the state of Maryland. This is an attempt by the state to at least address part of that. So the Planning Commission held several work sessions on this, and on August 13th, they held their advertised public hearing, and as a result of that, they're forwarding a favorable recommendation to you, with the Planning Commission's recommendation being that either the ADU or the principal residence must be owner-occupied, one or the other. The Planning Commission agreed with the 75% maximum size. And this is actually in accordance with state law also, but the Planning Commission agreed that the setbacks for an ADU must be the same as other accessory buildings in the city's code. And that's basically 5 feet from side and rear property lines. Setbacks for a principal structure could be much larger than that, typically 10 feet on the sides, maybe 25 feet in the rear. But by the state law, ADUs cannot be any more restrictive than accessory structures. So 5 feet from the side, 5 feet from the rear. We will need a new definition for an ADU instead of accessory apartment, because the city's definition of accessory apartment has some things in there that doesn't comply with the state law. So the Planning Commission has forwarded a definition for your consideration of an ADU. As I mentioned, ADUs would be allowed as an allowable accessory use in all districts where single-family detached residence is allowed. And I just want to emphasize that because that is a very important point. A new section 17.170 would be added to the zoning code because there are development standards associated with ADUs. And the Planning Commission and the legal department felt that it would be much better to have a standalone section in the code that addresses all of those standards. It's important also to remember that ADUs are treated as a dwelling unit. It's just smaller than the principal dwelling unit, and that all code requirements related to single-family residences would also apply to ADUs. For example, sprinklers. ADUs would have to have a sprinkler system installed. Would have to meet all building code requirements for a regular residential structure. So you do have, a proposed ordinance for consideration, and that's based on what the Planning Commission had come up with. We did make a couple minor housekeeping changes to that, not substantial changes, but just to make it more user-friendly. So if someone's reading the code, they can go to the R5, R8, R10 district, and under the accessory uses for those districts, they can clearly see accessory dwelling units are allowed, subject to section 17.170. And I think that draft ordinance was provided to you after the mail out of the packet. That's basically a thumbnail sketch of what the ordinance says. It does have an October 1st deadline. If you don't meet the October 1st deadline, the law still goes into effect. We just won't have all these standards that we can rely on to implement it, but we still do have to allow accessory dwelling units as of October 1st.
Thank you.
Sure.
Are there any questions? Go ahead, Michelle.
First of all, I just want to say that this is something that is going to affect two communities in particular, I think, the elderly and the disabled community. I think this is something that we have been pushing for these two communities for a while. So I'm excited about it. I just have a question when we're talking about 75% of the size, because yes, some of these houses are on these smaller lots are quite large. Are we talking footprint, just basically the area that takes up, or the square footage? Because a lot of these houses are 2-3 stories, a couple thousand square feet. There may not be room on these lots for a single story that would be 75% of that. You know what I'm saying? So,
Square footage,
Square
and that
footage.
75% is a maximum. It doesn't
That's
have
right.
to be 75%.
Right.
It could be less than that.
Right.
Our ordinance just couldn't allow anything that's larger than 75%.
Okay.
There are some built-in things in the code that might limit the size of these, such as our code only allows a rear yard to be covered by buildings up to 50%.
Gotcha.
So that
There's, okay, so will that be a conflict with the state law? Or
No.
do we have to fix that, or how is that going to?
No, it won't conflict with it. We just can't go above 75%. Now,
Right.
that's in the square footage of
Okay.
the structure.
So there are other
There
mechanisms
are.
in the code that would restrict the footprint of these accessories. Okay, I just wanted to clarify, because I think that was a concern that the mayor expressed, so I just want to make sure that we're covering that base.
But some of these ADUs could be pretty large.
Large, yeah.
The
Yeah, I get
the county put a 50% limit on theirs.
Gotcha.
Worcester County, I say that because that's where I most recently came from, has a 35% maximum.
Oh, wow, okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's a little bit much,
Yeah,
but I think,
that's
I
low.
think that's pretty low, but I think, this is
Surprise.
something that is, I'm excited about, and I want to see us move this forward, because especially the disability community's been talking about this for years, just for families who have a disabled
They
family member who
or
want
senior.
their own space, but also need that component of having people nearby,
Right there,
so.
yeah, have them right there.
And along with just older family members and things like that. I think
It's
that's,
true.
so, I'm all good. Okay, that's all I had.
I had one question on what you removed from, it's actually lines 152 to 159. They previously had the parking requirements in there for apartments. It was brought up on the webinar that was promoted by the state, and they had speakers from Annapolis and Backyard Builders, Backyard Homes builder. They were talking about different things, pitfalls you didn't want to fall into when you were doing this for the municipality, because it's been required, all municipalities. The interesting thing is that Falls Church, Alexandria, Montgomery County, Arlington, DC, some of them have had this in place for years, as I'm sure you're well aware of. The parking piece, they said, be careful with that, because if you don't designate that, you may have a conflict on the street, over parking on a street for even one car that would belong to somebody in the ADU. If you had more than one person living in the ADU and you had two cars. So I'm wondering if we need to put something back in there. You are better prepared in terms of the wording and what would be required for accommodating the lot size and access to the property, I guess, the ADU, to be separate.
Right. So right now, the ordinance does not contain a parking
Right.
requirement. What you could do, you could add, under the standard 17.170, that accessory apartments must comply with chapter of the parking. I can't think of what that is.
Okay, okay. No,
But
I'm,
you could add that into that new section governing
Okay.
ADUs. The state law, to be honest with you, kind of discourages parking, off-street parking for ADUs, because they want to encourage ADUs, and parking on a lot, off-street parking on a lot, could possibly
take up
limit-
more space.
Yes.
Yeah. But I'm wondering if, I'm trying to visualize when they were explaining this as one of the best practices to consider. You are talking about the lot size and the zoning and the unit size and all the things you've mentioned that you've covered. You've covered everything. It's amazing. But they said that may be something that you need to really consider for the person living there. Now, I don't know if they're allowed to sell or they rent the ADU. That's something else I couldn't find any information on.
So one or the other has to be
Has owner
owner-occupied.
occupied, right?
But
But
most
can they
likely-
both be owner? In other words, can I, as an owner of my home, sell the ADU?
No.
Good, that
Because
answers
they're both
that.
on one lot.
Got it, okay.
And our code, or our ordinance
You can't.
specifically says you can't subdivide.
Okay,
that.
good, okay, I didn't realize that, okay. But the parking thing bothers me in terms of if you're having somebody elderly who is driving, being able to get. And the other thing is, like, as Michelle said, there are so many groups that this will help. Kids that are moving home that don't want to live in the guest room in their parents' house. They want their own space. Or there's so many advantages to this.
Yes.
But I just wondered, I noticed the parking was taken out of that
Yeah.
section.
So that
And
was
I
ta-
think something needs to be addressed in that way, but I don't know how to do it.
That was taken out because it was in the section related just
the
to
apartments,
R5S,
accessory apartments.
R8S, yes.
Yep.
My suggestion would be, if the council wants to go that way, to add that sentence
That
in
you
the development
suggested.
standards.
Okay,
What our code would require for an apartment is actually 1.5 spaces per unit, but our
Mm-hmm.
code also says for fractions, you round up, so 2 spaces.
or even one,
Yeah,
it's-
well, our code would say they
Oh, the
have to have
code would
2.
have
Two,
Okay.
yeah.
If they don't want to, they can apply to the Board of Appeals for a variance. That's an extra step,
Okay.
but it is an option. And the state law says for parking, if we do require parking, we have to allow some sort of a waiver process.
Okay,
It also says that before you can even require parking, a parking study has to be done. Now, we think, and we've talked with some other jurisdictions, or at least one, Wycomico County, if you already have parking in your code for accessory apartments, you don't have to do a parking study. So that section you just pointed out, we have parking in there for
Right.
accessory apartments. We may not need to do a parking study. We're just carrying that forward into the new ordinance.
so maybe just amend, item A there where everything has been eliminated, and maybe condense it and make it applicable to the ADUs.
I think you're going to be covered by still taking that out, because that only goes to R5S, R8S, and
Okay.
R10S.
Okay.
But if you go farther back, on page 5 of 7 of the revised ordinance, where it says accessory dwelling unit standards, general provisions, we could add a new number 10 or something, actually on page 6, that says parking must comply with section whatever of the code.
And that would be a simple addition, it wouldn't hold the works up or anything like that. That would address it without getting into a lot of hoops and everything.
Yeah, it'd be very simple wording,
Okay,
in my opinion.
thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Go.
10.
Go ahead,
Thank you, ma'am.
sir.
So, there's some discussion about there be separate utilities would have their own water and sewer line, the new taps for these ADUs. It wouldn't be an extension of the existing services within the house?
So we're working, we had a meeting last week just with,
DAD.
departments, and the consensus of the departments was that you do need a separate meter for this. If someone does not pay their bill in one unit, and their water's cut off, then it's cut off to
Okay,
both
yeah.
units.
Right, okay.
So that was part of I think that was the main reason for having separate.
The second is owner occupancy, that was a standard. So what if one point they're owner occupied and at some point they sell it and they're both investment units?
It's going to be an enforcement issue, and the Housing and Community Development Department is aware of that. We talked about that. They said, that'll be part of their job. It could be difficult, but they understand the importance, and they would be willing to enforce that.
Yeah, and I'm thinking that the 50 versus the 75 might be a better fit. And the idea being, is there been any research on like architectural standards, or where somebody wants to build a geodesic dome behind a house, like whoa, what's going on?
The Planning Commission did not get into that, and we do not either. I think Wycomico County does have a sentence or two about that.
Okay.
They've had standards for accessory apartments for a number of years, and way back when, I think there was some trepidation about some of the accessory apartments, which I don't think's turned out to be true, and I think they realize that too.
Okay.
But they did have a sentence or two about architectural standards. Right now, we don't have that.
Okay.
And the state law was silent on that.
And Carrie, my understanding is these have to be like the tiny homes, or not like an RV, right? Or something set up in the backyard and that, or do we not? I know the county addressed that, so do we not? Could you give me a funny look, like maybe not?
So actually, I've not thought about a mobile home or something like that. We don't say that it has to be stick-built or anything like that. And in fact, the state is now, they passed a law a couple years ago, which I think we do need to address at some point, that mobile homes, manufactured homes, are treated the same as stick-built homes. That's something that'll be coming to you at some point in the future.
Okay.
They will also be allowed anywhere single-family residences are allowed. In fact, that's a law now.
Okay, so a mobile home, I get, so like an RV, like, the big RVs, I'm going to assume that couldn't be set up.
I don't think that would, because it would have to meet all the building code requirements. So
Okay.
I believe that we would be covered with that.
Okay.
But yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Could we another one of the items that they did list in this webinar was that a municipality would be able to determine or define the type. That would go back to what Melissa was just talking about. And I mean, you don't get a large tent in the backyard. You could define it. For instance, if you would this come before, who would approve this? Maybe that's the first step. You have a historical home and then you have a modern block in the backyard. Who would have any kind of jurisdiction over that, the type of home?
Wouldn't it be the Historical Society that does that?
So the historic
If
district
it's
would
in the
still
historical
grant
district.
approvals within the historic
historical-
district.
Right, but with any home, I mean, if you have the single-family dwelling of one style, and then you have something that's so bizarre in the backyard, wouldn't that come under some type of type that you could attempt to define or get some approval for? That's all.
Well, I think that you have to get approval for any of them that are there or going up. And I don't think that the city or the county would pass something that didn't suffice their ordinances or the resolutions, so, I mean, the ordinances that are there for, the rules, yes, as far as look, yeah, I don't think they would, because if it's not, I'm not saying concrete building, but I'm just saying, if it's not concrete and it doesn't fit
Yeah, the rest of the
the rest of the neighborhood, or if it's not passing the inspections that are required, I really wouldn't think that the city would even allow that to take place.
No, and what
That's
I
just like
see,
throwing up what is it, a shed?
yeah.
Somebody
Yes.
remove a shed and put a shed in the backyard of somebody's home, and it's not feasible. I just don't think, I couldn't see the city or the county. Now, I'm going to speak for the city. I don't think that we would allow that to happen.
You still need all normal building permits,
Yes.
inspections,
Yes.
all of that would still be
Right.
done.
Yes.
I think somewhere in here, they mentioned the fact impacting the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And the other homes.
They're not
It
gonna
would
let that
not,
happen.
couldn't be something that's so unbelievably bizarre that it impacts the neighborhood. That's somewhere in here. I can't remember where it was, so.
And it's not a foolproof solution, but part of the reason the Planning Commission wanted one or the other of the units to be owner-occupied
Oh, yeah.
is they felt that would provide some
That helps.
self-control.
What I see this as is like tiny homes, right? The ones that, you could put a family member in, or I don't see, I could be wrong, but I don't see people building monstrosities behind their house, on their lot, to put something, do you know what I mean? Like, I see it would be like a tiny home or the top of their garage for family, or,
Or a mother-in-law.
yes, something like that. So I don't see it as,
Or it can be attached too. I mean, it can be
Right, well,
above your garage, it
That's
can be
mother-in-law's.
attached
Yeah.
to
Right.
the existing owner's home as well, or totally separate, so there are options there.
right, like the garage. But yeah, that's kind of how I see it. I don't
Okay,
think
let's
that would be
move
a
on.
problem.
I think we've gotten what we need. And are we in consensus with moving this forward as is?
Yeah, and,
Yes.
Make that adjustment, the parking piece.
Well, wait, I don't know, hold on, because I'm not sure I'm in favor of this adjustment for parking before you add it in, so.
That's what I said. No, I'm not.
Let's talk
Hold on
about
a
that.
No, let's just move this forward, the
Yeah.
parking.
We'll deal with the parking.
Yeah, we'll do the
Yeah,
parking.
let's move it on as is
Yeah,
for
as
now,
is. Yeah, that's what I was saying.
as
Okay,
is, yeah,
so, are we in consensus to move this forward?
yes.
Councilwoman Blake?
Yes.
DeShields? Councilwoman DeShields?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Both.
Thank you.
Okay, now it's time for the public comments. And we have exactly 4 minutes to speak. So-
Councilwoman Jackson,
Yes?
I believe you asked for an update on the West Salisbury
We're gonna
communities.
do that after the public comments.
Oh.
Okay, yeah, would you be ready for me when we, just be ready.
Oh,
Go ahead. No.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Brown. I brought 2 youth with me. I want to speak today to the City Council I just awarded the City of Smyrna through Dr. Upshur and Councilman Anderson for Dover these awards. In Maryland, Governor Westmore just accepted an award for Just Serve and for the state of Maryland. So I'm inviting your city council to work with me. I'm a Just Serve specialist. I'm with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and this is called my calling or my free job I do on the side of my regular work. So what Just Serve is an app that connects community, nonprofits, which I heard us speak about earlier, and volunteers, as well as city projects, things that we can manage together on the app. It's a global app. It's available to anyone in the world. So say you were to take your family over to South Africa for a visit, you can go on the app and find out where your family can do some service work for a day or a couple of hours in that area. So that's how broad it is, but it's also local. And I live in Salisbury and would love to be able to work with the city council here in doing Just Serve and introducing that to you guys. I have my card with email on it for further information if anyone is interested in applying. And what we will do is grant you with a big banner for out front to say Just Serve City. We do not, it's not promoting the church at all. This is a global app and project to connect community and volunteers. So it's big. It's been around a little over 10 years, actually, but we're just starting to get really started. So I would
You can
want me
give
to
them to the
pass.
city clerk. and
Okay,
she will pass
and
it to
I
us.
appreciate your time. And I wanted to say, I have 2 youth with me. We also work with the youth city councils. So if we don't have one, I know some youth that are interested in seeing that happen, even though it may not happen with them because they're going to graduate next year, but they would like to see that instituted in our county.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll wait for y'all to get in line for the public comments.
Good afternoon. My name is Eugene Hernick. I'm on the Parks and Recreation Committee of the City of Salisbury. And I just wanted to come in, and I was deeply disappointed this past week with the tear down of the gazebo at Boundless Park after previously being assured that that was not going to occur. The Parks and Rec Committee wasn't really informed until the process was already started. What's the point of the committee even existing if we're not going to be involved in anything to help with alternatives on resolving issues? The reason for this tear down that we have been given is the same as always. Vagrancy in the parks, drug activity in the parks, open beverages and what have you in the being utilized in the gazebos at night. This is not only a problem at Boundless Park. We had our committee meeting this past week at Newton Park where we found needles on the ground, where we found drug bags on the ground just waiting there. They were by park benches. They were right underneath the playground set. Are we going to tear those down now? This is not the way we should be doing public property. Tearing things down because we don't like the activity that's occurring. How about we enforce the laws that are on the books and actually patrol these communities and patrol these parks? This is where our kids play. This is where our children play, and we are too lazy as a community to send cops on patrol in these parks. We should be ashamed of ourselves, and we need to find out who authorized this, why was no one notified properly ahead of time, only for us to find out the same day that it was being torn down, that it was being done by the police, is the one that wanted it torn down. I am ashamed today to be part of the Parks and Rec Committee. To say to anybody that I am not able to tell you what can be protected and what can't be. Our parks are a disgrace right now. They are in poor disrepair. Unless it says City Park on its name, we as a community don't care about the parks. They look terrible. Have you gone to Newton Park? It's a disgrace. It's not safe. Broken glass everywhere. I send notifications to our operations team. Hey, we have broken glass here. I took photos 3-4 days in a row. Still broken glass. We had our meeting. Still broken glass all over the place. We need to do better. Shame on our police department for being too lazy to send a frickin' patrol into our parks. And shame on anybody else who decided that they were just going to tear down public amenities. We could do better. And I apologize if I am being a little harsh here. But we as a community can do better for our citizens. And we can do better with our parks. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Joe Scafino, Salisbury. The idea of giving the tax break to the nonprofits is a great idea. Just the way it was worded, my interpretation, the way I saw it, was when I saw the word discretionary, a red flag went up, because if they meet all the criteria, then they should be able to get the break. discretionary tells me they can meet the criteria, but if the developer happens to be an ornery SOB, we're not going to give it to them. So I just want to clarify that if they meet the criteria, they get it. I attend most of the planning commission meetings and the discussion of the ADU. Several members, before they voted unanimously for the 75%, several members suggested 50%, 60%. Again, the county went with 50%, and I would really urge our council to go with 50%. My neighborhood, Pinehurst, there are a lot of large lots. So I have a feeling that we're going to get some. And 5 foot from the property line, I don't want a monstrosity backing up to my property that I can't screen. So just that thought. Now, the main topic I want to talk about tonight, if I have enough time, is the housing availability in Salisbury. Hear a lot about a housing shortage in our town. So I did a little research. I had a conversation with a friend in the real estate business, and she directed me to a Zillow website. And as of yesterday, there are 271 homes for sale in Salisbury and 194 rentals available in Salisbury. Now, some of the rentals are subsidized and income-based, but overall, to me, those numbers don't indicate a shortage of housing. I went further. In the last 2 years, from August to today, permits were issued by the city for 95 new single-family homes and 24 multifamily units and 273 townhouse units. 227 of those townhouse units are completed. There are 46 still under construction. So again, the issue doesn't appear to me to be a shortage of available housing stock so much as an issue of affordability. So in that vein, if anything, we need more of the type of housing that Green Street Housing constructs, as opposed to what's been proposed for lots 1, 11, and 15, where the suggested rents have been $2,000 and up. Now, if you're in the real estate business, you have a 30% of gross income rule. So you would need an $80,000 a year salary to comfortably afford a $2,000 rent. We don't have those jobs in this area. I'd love to see the market study that developer got that said that this community could support 226 units at that price point and with no guaranteed parking. So Salisbury, as well as the Wycomico County, doesn't have the type of these good-paying jobs needed to support that kind of rent. So how can we attract those good-paying jobs? We know that having a well-trained and skilled workforce available is one of the most important criteria for prospective companies to come here. Now, between Salisbury University, Warwick, and UMES, our area has quality higher education available to students. But for a number of reasons, some out of the school district's control and out of the teacher's control, the K through 12 education system in Wycomico County does not do a good job of preparing a majority of the students for these opportunities. This is what our elected officials need to work on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Michael Langford. I live at 1026 Arthur Court. Two quick things. I just want to ask the council to reaffirm a commitment expressed earlier by Councilwoman Holland to recodify the charter. That seems to be desperately needed. A lot of the times when we're having these discussions, where I think it was Mr. Roberts maybe, or maybe it was Mr. Pusey, if I'm remembering your name correctly, that referenced that we were kind of out of date with like some state laws. And it's just like a lot of these conversations will go smoother and be easier once we do that. So I just wanted to call for that to recodify the charter again and get underway with that process because it will take some time. And then the other aspect was just sharing information. So the person who came and spoke here earlier before, I don't think anyone else here may reside here, but I don't think anyone else has seen her in the community. So I did a quick Google search on my phone. Just Serve is a website that is owned and operated under the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and they own that information and the data that you put into that. So we have a good, the Community Foundation of the Eastern Shore, in partnership, I believe, with the United Way of the Lower Eastern Shore, which are reputable organizations that are receiving state funding, that are approved, that are nonpartisan organizations, already have shoregetconnected.org. So we have a great resource for our local community in the Lower Eastern Shore for people to volunteer. It's a way that you can volunteer at an organization like Habitat for Humanity or any other organizations in this area. I've used it myself. So I just wanted to kind of put information out there in the public since it was put out there. This Just Serve website is a religious organization. It is owned by them. They are going to have access to information about you, which their whole organization is about knocking on people's doors. So if you think that if you can volunteer on there and not get a knock on your door, you'd be probably sorely mistaken. Go to shoregetconnected.org if you actually want to connect with our community here for volunteer organizations and opportunities that are approved. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, so now we'll get into the administrating comments, but we're also going to do the update on the West Salisbury Community Center at that same time.
I'm gonna have Skip Cox come up. Skip's been working on this project, so he can provide an update.
Good evening. The community center at Parsons Road, the preliminary concept and site plan, floor plan has been completed by Fisher Architecture. We've also we've completed a survey, the property conceptual design, and that's been discussed and submitted to the management at the village at Mitchell Pond. The administration is requesting an easement of portion of the Parsons Road property that fronts right by the entrance. This will be to accommodate parking and safe entrance and exit for visitors and folks that are using the community center and the facility. This proposal was received favorably by the Mitchell Pond representatives, and we have directed CBM to move forward with a draft easement agreement. So hopefully that'll get taken care of. Once we receive this easement, we will be able to finalize design, site plan. We plan a side entrance to the facility, so it'll be easier to get into. So that'll allow us that access. The existing brick building has been made safe by removing the electric lines. There was multiple connections from the original facility that came into the brick building that ran over to the warehouse and to the back area, which was sort of unsafe. So what we did is just completely disconnected the power and made that safe this time. The existing brick building has been made safe by pulling out all and cleaning out all the debris and trash, and that's all been removed. There was a 1,800 square foot addition to the back section of the building, which was actually sloped towards the metal building and was poor drainage on that. So we
That's one way of putting it.
So we actually removed that, and we're cleaning that site up. And right now, the field ops is making that safe and getting that all cleaned up. So once all this is completed, we'll be identifying possible funding sources, whether it be relocation of bonds or a bond, or campaign funding to start raising money for the final design and construction. So that's where we are right now.
I have a question.
Sure.
Because of the age of that building, were there any harmful materials in there?
I was just getting ready to ask that, if an environmental study was done, not just on the outside of the building, but on the actual inside of the building, because people are going in and taking that stuff out. So do we know what trash this was that?
Great question. So yeah, we did a phase 1 study before we purchased the property. It's close to a 700-page document, which I can certainly share with the members here. So there was two issues with the property. One was underground fuel tanks, which we mitigated those, and they've all been removed. Soils have been tested and removed. So that building actually was the office space for a brick company years and years ago. So it's been around for over 100 years. And actually, the property next to it, where we're talking about the easement for the parking area, there was actually a brick kiln there that made brick. So in the report, it says there's possible ash in the soils, just says possible ash. So nothing's been confirmed as far as that goes. So they alluded to that. But as far as the inside of the building, there was no hazardous materials. Yeah.
That's all I want to know. That's all we need to know. Because when it comes to renovating and putting families, that matters. That matters. It really matters. So we just wanted to make sure that there weren't anything harmful in there. And not only for just the families and children that are going to be in there, it's for the people who are going in there trying to do the renovations. So, I mean, it's just a safety mechanism, and we just wanted to know, you know.
Yes, ma'am. So when we go for the complete renovation, everything will be completely restored.
Yeah.
Angela has a question.
Councilwoman Blake.
Thank you. I just want to know, how much was the site plan, how much did that cost?
The conceptual, we've got 4,000 in it right now.
But how much will it be total?
About 15.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions for the West Salisbury Community Center? I'm just ready to see it thrive.
So am I.
That's what I'm ready to see.
Find us the money.
It's something really needed in that district. So, anybody else have any questions?
For somebody that has 2 kids that went to Pemberton, that
Yeah.
place is going to be used a lot.
And I know this may sound a little crazy, but I am interested actually in the environmental study that you did.
Sure.
If it's inside and out, do you mind emailing that to Julie so she could share it with the rest of us?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was just outside. We just did the outside.
Well, that's what I just asked.
Phase 1
if you're
environmental.
outside or inside.
So whole property.
Yeah.
What?
Phase 1 is for the whole property.
Hold on, I'm a little confused. I asked if an environmental study was done. You said yes. I said
Yes.
inside and outside.
Phase 1
And then you said there
environmental-
was no hazardous materials inside. How do you know that?
Because the Phase 1 said so.
So the study that it
Yeah.
was done says.
So the study did the inside and outside?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Well, I would still like to see whatever you have.
It's fine.
So, Michelle.
No. Phase 2 will be done later before we move forward.
Yeah. You know, phase 2s are typically ordered when there's
Site-
exposure with phase 1, which would be a ground contamination of some kind, which we didn't find, so.
All you found was the ash.
Well, that's not even on our property, am I wrong?
That's on the Village of Mitchell Ponds
Yes.
property, okay.
So this other property had nothing underground that would cause any problems?
Not that I'm aware of.
Well, it wouldn't have been studied because it wasn't on our property.
Yeah.
but
No,
we
I'm
just-
talking about I'm talking about the building, not the other piece that we're getting the easement for, the other building. You did a study and there was nothing.
Phase
It was
1
just
study,
ash on that
so-
one
And
part. Okay.
we mitigated that issue.
Yeah, AIM did that for it. They're qualified.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's move forward. Okay, we have administrative comments.
Yeah, I just have a couple. Tuesday, September.
Thank you, Skip, appreciate it.
Thanks, Skip.
Thank you.
Tuesday, September 1st at 3 p.m. At Station 16, we're doing the new rescue vehicle ceremony, so please come out. Excited to see that. I'm sure Chief's ready to put that in action. The other one was 25 years old? Yeah, yep. So
How did you say? Excuse me.
3 p.m. on September 1st.
I
an
have
email,
it,
too.
I have it down, but I just, I'll write it in my book too, because
The housing, it's called the housing ceremony.
Let me guess, it's on your list of things to mention?
You've got it.
Yeah,
Take it off.
she's not going.
Take it off.
She's going last.
we're going to limit her to 2
Yeah,
minutes.
we got this time.
Take it off.
Hey.
You have at it. You limit it. You just take care of everything. That's fine. I'm not offended.
Another thing is Chief Frampton and Chief Mindshine have been working together for a 9/11 remembrance ceremony.
Check.
So we'll be having that at Station 16 as well on Friday, September 11th,
Yeah.
starting at 8:30. So please come out. Excited for that ceremony. I know Chief and both chiefs have been working hard with our ABCD team to put this together. So excited for that. And then the last thing I have is SU students are back. We We met with one of the co-owners of the Ross, so we are working with them, connecting them with SU and trying to collaborate on how we can get kids in and out of downtown area more frequently. So that was a great meeting.
Yeah, just a couple things. I, along with Sharon, had a chance to celebrate the Tartu folks that came over.
Awesome.
And watched the orchestra performance at Holloway Hall on Saturday. President Jackson and I had a chance to go to the giveaway book bag event at Lake Street, which was fun. I just want to mention a couple things. The final improvements are occurring at Waterside Park, which are really coming to close fast. And before our next meeting, we're hoping that the pedestrian bridge will be complete, so keep an eye on that. That's really coming along really, really quickly. I want to make a comment about the public parks. I have been laser focused on parks. We've spent several $100,000 on Doverdale, Lake Street, just mentioned Waterside, Woodcock Park. I live a block from Newtown Street. I have for 25 years. I go there all the time. I don't necessarily experience what maybe other people are experiencing. I get my vegetables and various things. And not the least of which is the zoo in the city park and the pedestrian bridge and the biggest park we've got. As you know, for the Boundless Playground, that has been a challenge for several months. And what precipitated it as of late were two things. We had an overdose in that location, and we had a hatchet event where somebody had cut a man's hand off and ran to the Boundless Playground. So we looked at that as possibly a tip that maybe we should be eliminating possible places for them to hang out in that regard. Now, I believe that you're correct. It would be great in an environment where we could police it regularly, but it is just not possible to do the level of policing that has been required for that place to stay. Every time I've gone over there, and there's been a half a dozen times, I see people hanging out that aren't with their kids swinging on the swing sets. So I don't know what to do about it. I appreciate your frustration, but I can tell you that this administration is committed to parks, and we will do whatever makes sense and within our capabilities, but we can't, sometimes fix these very, very bad situations. So we apologize for having to do that, but we felt it was the right move for public safety. So, thank you.
I'm going to start with the council comments tonight. And that is, I remember when they removed the gazebo from the Waterside Park. One thing I do not like is when they do things, the community never knows about it. And I really think that when you remove such items from a park, the community should be involved and should know that this is happening. When they removed that gazebo from the Waterside Park, we didn't know it. A couple of people that lived in the Pemberton area on Pemberton Drive contacted me in reference to that. That was like maybe 12, 13 years ago. They notified me, where is your gazebo at? And the same thing they said that was going on at these same parks was the same thing they said that was going on over in the Waterside Park, which was not true. Because I frequent that park very regularly. Almost every other day, I saw people having functions over there, baby showers.
What year was that?
It had to be, I came in 2015, so it had to be like 2011, 2012. And they removed it. And I ended up calling the county, and then I ended up calling the city. We were told that we were going to get that gazebo back. Never. It's still, to this day until now, have we gotten that pavilion. And I feel just like the gentleman feels. I think these are playgrounds and parks for our families. And there should be safety mechanisms. So I actually thought about, why couldn't we just hire 2 retired police for security, just for parks? County has them. They have county park rangers. And they go around to each park. And they just check the parks out. See what's going on, what activities going on at the park. See if people have permits to have events there. And I think that would be a very good idea for us to have that, because we do have numerous parks. And I don't think it would take that much to even do that. And we could just allocate it in next year's budget for this, because it needs to be done. Our parks should not be dismantled because other people cannot behave themselves properly. We should have better security. And actually, the police should do it, but, I mean, they are going 50 million different ways, and we're not actually, are we fully staffed?
No.
No, we're not fully staffed, so, I mean, it's kind of bad because there's times when I want to call the police myself, and I said, this is trivial, I'll just wait and talk to the chief or whoever. I won't call because I know they have more important things to do, and that this is important, but I think that we should hire 2 security. I really do. I think that we should have 2 retired police who are willing to come back for a decent price, a decent amount of money, and just pay them to keep our parks safe, to keep from removing a pavilion that we may put right back there again. Now, when we did go to the park and we did have our meeting, mind you, there were bags, drug bags, there were tips to needles, a lot of paraphernalia, and I think our parks should be safe. They should be safe. And because of the county doing what they do, those parks are pretty well kept and safe because they do have park rangers. So you might go out there and see a little bit of something, but you never see a whole lot of vagrancy at those parks. And one of them is the Billie Jean Jackson Park, where people can just go back there and just lay, but they don't. They don't. And I can say that they don't because they have park security. So maybe we need to invest in park security so our families can have these parks in their communities and they can be wholesome in the community. Let me finish.
Okay.
Let me
I was just gonna
let
make
me-
one
just
comment.
Let me finish what I'm getting ready to say.
Okay.
It was horrible when I went there to this meeting on Thursday. Really disappointed on how it was kept. The maintenance is not well kept, because if the maintenance was well kept in those parks, that stuff wouldn't be there. So we don't have somebody actually going to clean these parks either. It's evident. I can honestly say that. It is actually evident that it was not cleaned, had not been cleaned at all. So we need to do a better job of keeping our parks up. If we want these parks, and we want to put just like that pavilion that's coming into Waterside Park, it's got to be manned. And it's sad that we have to do that. But we have to do that because of society today. People do what they want to do, but only if you allow them. Only if you allow them. So we need to do a better job of getting security. Okay? Now, there will be a meeting September the 17th at 6 p.m. at the Newton Street Community Center and Park Playground. Because we want to give the community an opportunity, and I won't be able to make it, but we want to give the community an opportunity to say what they want in their park, what they need to see in their park. This is where people come in. When people are invested, when people have a part in their parks and their area, they're invested. And it gives them ownership. And this is what we need to do. We need to start communicating with our communities as far as, okay, what do you kids want to see here? What do you like here? You know, we always want to put what grown people want to put out there, but we don't never ask the youth or the children what they see is viable for themselves. So I think that we need to, what we're doing, we came up with this ideal to do this because it needs to be done. Let that community be invested in their community. And then I'm going to tell you what, once people are invested in that community, they will protect that community. But if you don't give them anything to do and you just put something up and say, oh, here it is, this is what y'all going to get, you're going to get this. And no, that's not how things should be done. The communities should be a part of everything that goes on in their community. So that's one thing, okay? The Lake Street Playground, I must say, is beautiful. That fitness equipment, benches, and trails is really awesome. It's really awesome, and I would hope that everybody would go out there and take a spin around the trail. I have. It's really nice. And I think, by that park being in the neighborhood that it is in, the same things could probably happen in there, but they have a church next door, and they have neighbors on the other side who look out. And this is just what I'm saying. You got to put people where people need to be. You got to invest them. You got to put them in that part of being invested in that area. We don't go out there and see the things that you see. And we did have a own-house person living out there one time. He was just staying. He was out there. He was under a tree, but you didn't see a bunch of trash. You didn't see a bunch of anything because of the respect of the communities that I guess he figured I can't do what I want to do out here, but he did stay there, and nobody bothered him. September the 19th, from 12 to 2, it will be a senior citizen summer cookout. It's a free event. If you're 55 and plus, you're more than invited to come. It's free. We'll have music, food, and fun. It's for the seniors. My organization and a couple of other organizations are funding this. Well, I'm right now. Salisbury Advisory Council on Youth Activities. And we would love to see you come out and enjoy that day. Because we do have a good time. And it's just like this. It's the summer thing, then we have our Christmas thing. As I was saying about the Waterside Pavilion, I've gone out there. I've talked to the one of the engineers and one of the guys that is on the
General contractor.
developers.
Yeah.
I know he probably told you I came out there, didn't he? I came out and I looked and I was like, oh man, this is nice. It is really, really, really a nice place. It's really beautiful, so I can see us now having some events over there and doing some things. And I thank the council and the mayor and the administration for wanting to invest in that, because that is what is really needed the most in our communities. Those kind of things are what is needed. We have an ESAM meeting in September. I think that's the 17th. I think that's why I won't make that meeting. And I have a talk show called Veterans Voices, and I will tell you, Michael Langford is one of my co-hosts, and Tyler Jones is one of my co-hosts. And this Tuesday, we will be talking about PTSD, and we will also have a counselor from the Vet Center come in, because that's what she does, talks about PTSD, and we will have other people come in on different segments. We do it twice a month. You need to go in and look on YouTube. You will see it. The last week we were talking about the VFWs and how they're organized and how they do their fundraisers and everything. And the veterans play a very important role in our city, in our country, and in our communities. And we should be more invested in them than we are, and that's what I'm trying to do, bring people to the forefront to see what all the veterans do in the community and inside of the perimeter, especially the state of Maryland. They do a lot. They really do a lot. And I know you can probably see Delmar's got a truck for raffle from Pohanka. I think it's a Maverick. They have an auction going on now. I mean, not an auction, a raffle. $60 per ticket. But what's $60 when you could win a truck? I think it's a 2026 Maverick. So, those are the things they do, and they're always having something. 194 is always having something, and 10159 is building itself back up, and we're going to get there. But it's a struggle for the veterans. So tomorrow, and it won't be on the air until one day this week, but just check out, the conversations that are being had for the veterans. Another thing, I know, Sharon, I'm doing you today.
You have your nerve.
The Haitian.
I think you're showing her up.
Yeah, The Haitian community. I know some of you may not like it, but they're part of this United States of America, and they were brought here. They didn't come on their own. They were brought here. And they're not being treated fairly. And as I looked at a movie the other day, I saw something, and I said that to them. I see slavery in the worst way. When our forefathers and mothers came to this country, the same way they're doing these Haitians is the same way they did us, our people. Separated us from families, separated husbands and wives from one another, never got to see your families again, never got to see your kids again. Why are we still doing the same thing? It is so unfair to them and the Hispanic community. And if anybody out here knows, evidently a lot of people don't know how it feels. And they don't know how it feels, but I've heard stories because I had a great-grandmother her mother was a slave. And it's hurtful to see this coming back again. It's the same thing, a revolving door, and it should not be like this. We should support these people. No, I don't like everything they've done. I don't like everything I do. I don't like everything a white man does. I don't like everything a Hispanic does. We're not perfect. But we should stand against this because it's not right. And I'm not saying it just because I'm an African American. I would say it if it were you, a white man. I would say the same thing. It's not fair. So whether people like it or not, I say what I say what I mean, and I mean what I say. It's unfair, it's unjust, and it shouldn't be being done today. People are scared to come out of their doors. They're scared to run their businesses. Who gave them the license to run a business? Who did? We. We gave it to them. Our government gave them to them. And now these people can't open their doors in fear. It's not right. And I'll repeat everything I said again and again and again until it sinks into somebody's, not just your mind, but your heart. Have a heart. Thank you. Michelle?
Okay, well, on that.
Councilwoman, I'm just overwhelmed.
Gregory.
No, I know. I'm just overwhelmed right now because I just, I'm
no, I
sorry.
get
Go
it.
ahead.
I get it. Well, on those a couple of points, I'm really glad to hear you say something about the parks and things because I was going to suggest something similar in that we already have the blueprint for a program like that in the Downtown Ambassador Program. We can just take that blueprint and look at our parks and expand it to that, because I'm very upset that I did not know, and I'm the council person for the Boundless Playground, so I had no idea that had come down. Nobody notified me either. So I think this is something that we really need to address, and I think it's something that we can absolutely do. We did it for the downtown and saw great results. The downtown became cleaner, it became safer, just by having a presence. And it didn't need to be a police officer. We just have staff downtown that take care of these things, and they're a body and they're there. So I think that is the blueprint that we need to take and expand it to the park system that we have. On the subject of the Haitian community, this Wednesday at 12:30, it will be an event at Radio Oasis, 255 North Division Street. Starts at 12:30, gathering and registering. Bishop William Barber, if you know who he is, he will be there. This is through his Repairs of the Breach organization. There's going to be a march. There will be a delivery of letters, and then there will be a prayer and a press conference right here at the government office building by 1:30. So it starts at 12:30. Meeting at 255 North Division Street is the address for the start of this. I strongly recommend, if you are concerned about what is happening to the Haitian community in our city right now and in our county and in our state, we're kind of under a microscope right now because they're doing stories at the national level about our Haitian community here in Salisbury and the stress that they are under. I have seen stories on CNN, I have seen stories on NBC where they're talking about us. We need to show that we as a community stand with our Haitian brothers and sisters. I mean, this is a huge thing that is impacting a huge amount of our population. We have probably, I think it's the highest concentration of the Haitian community here in Salisbury in the entire state. So please come out. Again, that's this Wednesday at 12:30 downtown here on North Division Street. I would love to see you there. I hope I will. But that's it for me.
Thanks, Michelle. I had it written down, but
I figured.
Okay. Councilwoman Blake?
Just a couple things. The city of Salisbury had a blood drive on last week on the 18th. I believe it was very successful. The employees did a really good job filling up the slots. I don't know how much blood was collected or how many pints, but I do think it was a full book for the full day. I also donated, and I just remind people to always donate blood and be mindful that you can also donate your plasma and consider being an organ donor. That's the greatest gift to life. Third Friday was well attended. It was really fun to see a lot of the kids out running around doing the chalk art. Back to school is getting to be very exciting. It's an exciting time of the year for them, if they want to admit it or not. But it's exciting for us. The staff and teachers all started today, so it was a very good opening. And just be mindful that on September the 9th, school does start. When the bus stops to pick up these children,
Stop.
you better stop.
Yep.
I will tell on you. That's it.
Okay. Councilwoman Holland?
Sure. Just a few things. So the Truth Committee, we had a meeting this week, and I'm going to send all of you, and I'm going to remind myself, they're working on sending a letter out to the media regarding some things, and they content on Facebook, social media, and so I'm going to share that with all of you. It was a very productive Truth meeting, I will say. We're looking at ways to partner with the Chipman Cultural Center in order to, they need some help in that aspect. I want to thank the departments. I'm still not done all my tours of meeting people and finding out what each department does. I'm working my way through. So thanks to all of you that have met with me or given me tours of your facilities and kind of showed me what everyone does. I truly appreciate it. Also, this Saturday, August 29th, from 1 to 4 at the Doverdale Park, a gentleman by the name of James Webb, and I am actually going to be out there helping him. We pulled donations together. There's another opportunity for free book bags, school supplies. He will have clear, and then he will have others for the elementary students. So I encourage everyone. It's a barbecue. It's going to be a good time. So I encourage everyone to go out to that. And I think that's it.
Okay. Now, Councilwoman DeShields.
I was thrilled to be a part of the first graduating class from the UMES Aviation Maintenance Tech Program. And they had 12 graduates, and this is at our airport, and they all have received their AMT degree with FAA certification. So the planes that you're flying in and things like that, they've worked on that type of thing. The new class out there starts August 24th. They have 25 students enrolled, which is what their maximum is.
Cool.
They have, on the Salisbury-Wycomico Metropolitan Planning Organization, okay. And they do studies for different people in their footprint. And the one thing I'm really thrilled about, finding out that they're doing a study about those of you that live in the Delmar area, they're giving suggestions to make the Bi-State Boulevard and Conley Mill Road safer, and they're entertaining different options for that. The one I'm partial to is if those of you have come from Hobbs Road into Salisbury and you try to go off the exit to get on 13, whether you're going north or whether you're going south, you're having to really incur a lot of traffic and possible accidents. So they're studying that, and they're giving options, whether it would be a light, whether it would be just close it entirely, or go back to a clover leaf that they used to have. PAC 14 had a very successful school year. They had interns, and some of the interns are staying around, and some of them are happy to come back for a paying job. They're going to have their annual meeting October 14th. and you will find all the things. I mean, they are busy non-stop. Chris is in the back room right now. As the mayor mentioned, I got to see something that I honestly say I have never been quite so impressed with any performance I've ever been to in my entire life than what I got to see this past weekend. And it's the Estonian Magic Strings. They brought 9 children. The ages ranged from 10 to 23, and they play the violin. And they did probably 25 pieces with no music. So imagine doing 4 or 5 pieces from the Phantom of the Opera with just phenomenal. If you closed your eyes, there was no one, everyone was in sync. It was absolutely phenomenal. They brought 9 with them, but they have 29 in the group in Estonia, as part of Estonia as a sister city of ours. SU put on another performance, someone we see at our meetings a lot. Susanna Mallow is the director of music, and it's a much longer title at SU. But they did another concert with the Carillon, and it was fascinating to watch because you could watch it inside. It was raining, and you had the TV, and you could see the woman that was performing was Margaret Pan, and phenomenal to watch her just watch the footwork and the hands as well on that. And those of you that want a night out, and you can take your children, I want you to go on the website for the zoo, and it's a getaway. Spending the night, and it's called Bunk with the Beasts. So feel free to look it up. You'll have a night away. That's all I have.
Council President, I did forget one. August 31st at 6 p.m., a meeting is being held at the First Baptist Church regarding the Wycomico Nursing Home. And so if anyone wants to go out to that, I do plan on going, so.
And I also had one I forgot too. Eastern Shore of Maryland Sickle Cell Disease Hats Off Sickle Cell Walk. This will take place September the 26th. Registration starts at 8 a.m. The walk begins at 9, and it's 2300 North Salisbury Boulevard, Salisbury, Maryland. Meet at the food court. So it's in the mall. The walk is in the mall, in the center. So
What's that again?
it's September 26th. So please come out, and it's a raffle, vendors, activities, and giveaways. So please come out and support. It is now 7:50, and we are adjourned.